out there in the land. For some reason, I'm not seeing the Twitch stream. Let's make sure I've got this working. For some reason, I'm not seeing the Twitch stream.
Alrighty. Hi, folks.
Hello, everyone. And yes, you are taking a look at Holistic Design's latest 3D VR, AR, XR new game ready to launch in 2025. No, wait. You're right. This is really Emperor of the Fading Suns, originally released in the mid-90s as part of the Fading Suns universe. And it has been relaunched by GOG. You can find it on GOG.com. We're going to show you a little bit of classic old EFS. So I've been playing. I'm on my third game now. You Fading Suns players will be very amused to know that my very first game I played Lee Halan. And sure enough, within about 20 years, the church had come and burned my labs and shot down my fleets and excommunicated me. I was Lee Halan. So anyway, second game I had a crash, so I found out how to fix that. If you go into the GOG DX wrapper, you can set it to have your resolution set by application. I haven't crashed yet. I'm in year 4978, of course, of House Hazat, the true champions. You've got these Hawkwoods running around. I mean, look at them talking about poor little Lucinda resign now, and I may let you live as my pleasure toy. Hazat Alvarez! Anyway. So for those of you who played it or didn't play it, it's still a whole lot of fun. We do have multiple levels of combat. You have space combat, ground combat, air combat, water combat, all sorts of fun. You've got various landing ships. Oh, I've already fired my cruiser in this one, attacking the ground below. I began as the leader of House Hazat on Aragon, the Hazat capital planet. Well, it will be once I've consolidated all the other worlds. And you can see conquering various places, the farms, the mines, building new roads, building new cities. My own capital is over here with some of my nobles inside. I've already had one noble die. So I've got to always leave one noble in here. But building things up, trading with the Merchant League for all of their valuable things. Of course, one of the fun things about being Hazat is you want to get a lot of money so you can really pay your troops well. Because we let you set all sorts of crazy things in this game. Set your tax. Set how much of the tithes from the worshipers of the church you skim off. How much you pay your units in order to get more loyalty from them. You can see how everyone's doing over the course of the game. You see that the Al-Malik are it's a little bit of trouble right now. They've upset the church and have been excommunicated. So I'm going after them next. But yeah, those Hawkwood are really in the lead. That's the trouble when I set the difficulty high with my opponents. You see who's at war with whom? I'm at war with the Dakotas and the Hawkwood. Curse them. Not yet the Lihalan or the Al-Malik, though I'll do a sneak attack on the Al-Malik soon and pick over the bones of what's been left behind by the church. But there's so much fun to do in this game. I've turned off the music. The music really is incredible. I strongly encourage you to play with the music on. I've turned it off because otherwise we would not be talking on the stream. We'd just be grooving out to the music. Messages, you've already seen some. The archives are always one of the favorite things everybody had. And we've got all sorts of important pieces of information given to you. Necrosis, and from the pitchy shadows twixt the stars, let the dark crawler fall and stark unseen among thee, and let none, not a man, nor a woman, nor a newborn babe, escape the crawler's wrath, and ye shall lament aloud to the heavens, and falsely implore the inanimate, even if thy grating fingers wither and drop about thy questing ankles. But it shall await thee not, for the hour is upon thee, and judgment is at hand. Lots of great info in here for you to enjoy about the Fading Suns. Yes, there is a cure for necrosis, xenobiology, which I just got from raiding an ancient ruin. So much fun in the archives themselves. I already showed you the house information. Diplomacy was always one of the best parts of this game. You can choose who you want to have diplomatic relationships, what you want. Give me your votes at the next election. Give me all your votes, and I'll give you a ministry if I'm elected. I'll give you the Stigmata garrison, and that way the symbiotes will take over. Yeah, the symbiotes have already been attacking Absolution in this game, which is fun. I'll appreciate it. And I'll sign an alliance with you. Done. So deep diplomacy you can do with one another. Of course, there's all the stuff on with any kind of when you get elected regent, you can assign out these ranks, and you can pull the Imperial troops off Stigmata and just let the symbiotes tear through the known world. But you can go ahead and make your play for regent. All those imperialized spies, the Imperial fleet again, defending humanity from the symbiotes. Just pull them back and bombard some more Ducatos again. What the heck? That's what they're there for. And as Bill noted, yes, we do actually have the vote scepters as units in the game. You can capture specific vote scepters. So go grab them. Your house can have 6, 7, or 8 of them. You don't have to just have that piddly 5 you started with. I haven't done enough research yet to be able to get all sorts of cool stuff, but I can build some fun things already. Missile launchers, scout tanks, tank killers, gunships, atmosphere fighters, dive bombers, strategic bombers. The kind of things you can build in this game get really, really crazy. Again, those archives give you a great look at what you can have. So, oh yeah, the Tracker Legion of Fanatics. Nay, spare not one. Be that one with child or child itself. For heretic can no more than check its evil nature. Then a nit can avoid becoming a louse. Or a Pyrian hellworm retain its skin upon reaching its 4th instar. So remember, those of you on Pyre, watch out for those Pyrian hellworms, okay? Anyway, so much to do in this game. 1 to 5 players. It's really at its best with multiple players. I'm looking forward to some of these forums getting filled with people looking for games. There are a few Discord channels already out there for people who want to play this. You can get it on good old games. I believe it is $5.99, so much cheaper than we first launched it. Check it out. Enjoy it. Set up your own game. Have fun with it. Oh, yeah, something I always enjoyed with this. Oh, so one more thing before we go into this. And, yeah, I have been playing this pretty much nonstop since GOG launched it. Always forgot about the fact we had these fun random star maps. Let's see everybody so we take a look at all of their star positions. And you can set all these kind of things. Have rebellions, have plague, or not. Let's turn off the tutorials. Play by email. So much fun. Anyway, so let's take a look at the universe. Oh yeah, all the different stats. I should have stayed right there. All the different stats you can give your leaders in your house. Always fun. Yes, let's research genetics. That'll upset everybody. All right. And now we've got a whole new known world. Oh my gosh. Chernobog, right next to Byzantium Secundus. That's what you want to see with those symbiote swords. Can't see there yet, but boy, do I want to see that. Oh man. Now I want to play this game. See what happens when the symbiotes just invade Byzantium Secundus. Oh, I love these crazy maps. Oh my gosh, Delphi and Cephas right next to Chernobog. Oh, this is my kind of map. The Vow, 2 jumps away from Istakar and Ligai. Wow, I want to play this map. Anyway, Emperor of the Fading Suns, we released it, added a lot of great elements to the Fading Suns role-playing games and vice versa. So check it out. I think that you will like it a great deal. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. And I'll start looking at the questions that appeared in chat. How does that sound? How do I stop sharing my screen? Let's see.
All right. Well, that was a blast from the past. Crazy stuff. I've forgotten so much of the look of that thing. That's crazy.
I'm on my 3rd game. That just came out yesterday morning. Get into it, Bill. All right, time to look at all these questions. Right. Hello, call me. Salutations, Chainsaw Gothic. Hi, Lord Corson. Ahoy, guts aplenty. Yes, the high-end graphics, call me. Chainsaw Gothic, legacy graphics from the not-too-distant future. Admiral Nelson, yes, it was initially relaunched by GOG. Yeah, Good Old Games is going by GOG because they're doing so many new releases now. So I had to change that myself. So yes, GOG, same thing. Almost for the win. Call Me just bought it yesterday. Yeah, keep it with the tutorial on for a while. Don't go in with tutorial off. You want that tutorial. Hawkwood some set impossibly high standards for everyone else. Of course. Yeah, got the plenty. Yeah, we're glad to have it get a digital release one more time. Phantom of Truth. I'm running all the noble houses to destroy several of them in the church, and then come up with the All Malik League win. No! The Republic will return. All humanity will die. And you're right, Admiral Nelson. It is hella fun. I think I got all the questions.
Yep.
Oh, Bill, well, I wish there were just some new news on the Fading Suns front. Cool things to look at.
Yeah, we had the Game Master book come out. Yay! So that's in the hands of backers right now, and hopefully you all are combing through it and finding all the mistakes so you could tell us about them so we could fix them before they go to print. But let's take a look at it now. There it is, Game Master book. Yay! We also had the character book come out before. If you joined us last week, we were going through some of that. We'll pick that up again soon. But for now, here's the Game Master book. Scrolling through it. Thanks, Robert. And there's our credits page, table of contents. You've got chapters divided into, the first one is about dramas, which is how to run this crazy thing and how NPCs are built. And then you'll get the people chapter, which gives you all sorts of different sample NPCs and creatures, including husks. Then there's a section on places, which are how you build where you set the game. And we give you a whole sample called Hargard. Everybody knows that world by now, which was a Voldrak world. Now it's the newest jewel in Emperor Alexius's crown. And following that, there's playing the game, which gives you a sample of play and helps clear up some of those issues, and a sample drama, Nightmare in Ingmark, set on Hargard. And then at the final end, there's a little appendix giving you a little more information about tech levels and stuff, and how to think about them, and what kind of what the church thinks about them, and so on. Extra stuff for the Game Master. Ooh, look at that pretty picture.
Yeah, I love this piece. A city
War is
as
always...
it should be.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Nice range, too. There's a brute cart there, I guess. I can't really see it well enough at this resolution, but it's a cart of some sort. And up above, all the flitters and flying things. Nice. Cool. And the introduction here just gives you some general overview, and also lists a bunch of other books or movies and stuff you can go to for inspiration, stuff that inspired us when we were doing Fading Sun, or stuff that is particularly relevant to get you in the mood, help set the atmosphere, help your themes, and so on. And, let's see. Yeah, The Expanse. It's one of them. There's all sorts of M.A.R. Barker's Tacamel. And a lot of stuff, including comics. Can't leave out the comics. And here we got a picture, a little locked room mystery. Typical player character troop trying to solve it. Who's to blame here? Oh, strange footprints. So yeah, kind of stuff player characters get to do. And we talk about dramas here. Nope, here's another saint. It's Saint Cardano, Sword of the Prophet. He's the one who practically overnight converted House Lihalan from their demonic ways to their most faithful ways. A great conversion moment, one of my favorites. And we first talk about the non-player characters. This time around, there are 3 different types, and these determine different levels of stats you're going to bother to give them. The headliner is just like a player character. They get all the stats. An agent is a little more streamlined version. Doesn't have all of the stuff. such as they don't have revivals. And then there's the extra. Those are kind of what your mooks and other games and stuff. And they only have a bare amount of stats. They don't get surges or revivals either. And a smaller amount of vitality. As Call Me says, those stained glass sink pictures are really cool. I love them. Those artists really came through on that. I forget the artist's name. I got to look this stuff up. I'm so bad this way. If you're out there, great stuff. And yeah, talking about how to write up the NPCs at the end of the chapter, you'll see some cards you can use to use as a template. We talked about the Troop Coffer and the Adversary Coffer. The Adversary Coffer is like a Troop Coffer, but it's for the Game Master, and he gets to use it for all his NPCs. And various things in the game that happen get to help him fill his coffer, such as a lot of times when you guys roll a 20 as players, he'll get a weird point for his coffer. So empowering the NPCs in ways he chooses at any time. And we talk about how to run the troop coffer for the game master and stuff, how to help fill it, rewarding them for good role playing, great moments. When everybody has fun, they should be rewarded by, having some extra weird points because that'll help them have even more fun.
And when they're not having fun, just make things extra weird.
Right. And the melodrama here is just a little extra bit on how you can spend weird points for what in other games are called like stunts and stuff, doing all sorts of things that are kind of off the books without the rules. So weird points can be used for that kind of just break the rules for a moment sort of thing, if that's what the game master wants. Yep. And then all sorts of stuff here on character development. Oh, this is like when to help your players level up and how fast you want that to happen. And we suggest certain paces for your game, whether you want it to be slow, sort of medium, or really fast, depending on how quick you want your game to go and how empowered they're going to be. And then here comes the kind of stuff you normally see in role-playing books aimed at a game master. Advice on how to do this whole thing. And yeah. Oh, yeah. A little typo, as people are noticing, under how. Wah, wah. Talk about your noble entourage. And there's a group of player character types, as you can see. Including a stinky flame gun. Don't you know you're not allowed to smoke in public? Yep. We talk about troop leaders, how to choose one, because troop leaders get to do certain things like run the initiative queue and so on. Different troop types, like a merchant caravan, they don't all have to be a noble entourage. That's kind of the basic one we assume. Everybody usually works with a noble, but maybe it's a merchant they're all working with instead. Doesn't all have to be just one way. And so there are different troop types we list here, including the band of brothers sort of thing, having patrons and such. All right. And developing your arc, your stories, starting with the pitch and going into the kind of genres or themes you want, from adventures to halls of mirrors, frontier adventures, that kind of stuff. There's a spooky picture. Ooh. The dead have risen. Help, get a priest. Oh, there's a priest. Yep, mysteries and horror. And basically, you could run all sorts of different types of games within the umbrella of the Fading Suns. So, yeah, relationship dramas, war, and so forth. And then we start going into the steps of how to prep for this whole thing, how to design the dramas down to their plots, where they take place. Each scene, dramas are built into scenes, and we recommend a little scene card here that gives you sort of a just basics as you're entering a scene of, who's in it, where it is, and what happens, which is basically just a little plot outline.
And the scene card is really helpful, not just for keeping track of things, but for inspiring other ideas. Just writing these up will give you some really cool ideas about how the story can go.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, and here's some more deeper details on how you might build some of these ideas for these different genres of games and stuff, and how you can string some of these plots together using typical tropes from these sort of genres. Myth arcs. As we say, the myth arc is where, just like in shows like the X Files and stuff with mythology, some episodes are just a little episodic monster of the week, but some have a big, longer running story running behind it that start to intrude, and that's your myth arc. And so some of your stories will bring that in. Some of them will just ignore it for a while. It's up to you. So yeah, we keep going through. And some advice on dramatic structure and stuff, how to help structure these things, and a nice piece of art of an asteroid base and a ship arriving. Chainsaw Gothic. Hopefully, your mythology arc will have a better ending than X Files did. Isn't that true of all TV shows, though? They never live up to what you think they're going to lead to.
Ours was not the Smoking Man; it was the Smoking Vow or the Smoking Inquisitor. Take your pick.
Smoking symbiote. Yeah, just all sorts of extra advice on themes, breaking your acts down to beginning, middles, and ends. Plot twists, resolutions, the kind of things you screenwriting books and stuff, but are also very helpful for thinking about games. Obviously, games are a little more interactive, so they're going to go off the rails at times, but there's some advice in here for that too.
How many of you did like me and said at times?
So yeah, and yeah, some of how to think of your things, tragedy and axioms to think of as just general advice. We're all in this together. We're here to have fun. Don't lose sight of these things. Anytime something starts to go wrong at the table, think of these sort of axioms to help guide you back to the fundamentals. It's all supposed to be fun. It's a role playing game, after all, even when you're getting very artsy, which we used to all the time.
But the goal is to become excellent. Don't forget that.
Here's one of my favorites, the Astro Divinity cards. It's kind of a tarot deck for Fading Sun's universe. For many, many years, these were pretty much used by like the children of Zoran. You would go to them for fortune telling and stuff. But recently at court, Empress Freya showed up with a deck, and they became all the rage. Now everybody's got to have an Astro Divinity deck. So there's all sorts of fly-by-night guys putting together their own decks, putting them out into the market. The Voldrak are selling them now. And the church has commissioned the Eschatonic Order to sort of put out a proper deck, one that's actually authorized, because they know they can't stop people using them. But you might as well use them to instruct the faithful. And this lists the cards.
He was crazy. You should see the Council of the Astro Divinity cards that's coming up. That's going to be a great scenario for somebody to run.
There you go. Yeah, the list here is of what's kind of the major arcana types. We talk about how to cast them, such as these 3-card little short divinities. And you can use them in the game as a tool, having NPCs answer questions players put to them. There's some examples here on how you might interpret some of the way the cards come out. But you could also use them as a metagame thing, such as, what am I going to run tonight? What kind of game? What's going to happen? And you could throw some of the cards down to have it answered. And so we give some examples there. And then there's a little sidebar on what some of the minor cards might look like in the Fading Suns on these Astro Divinity decks you're going to find.
And we know nobody's turned their Astro Divinity deck into a weird tabernacle. None of them are haunted, and none of them are tools for the urge. So they're completely safe.
Fan of Truth. Any chance the Astro... I'm going to catch this first before we leave it. Any chance the Astro Divinity deck is printed for following Kickstarter? Why, what a good idea. It might well happen. Signs and wonders. Here's how to bring the miraculous into the game. What's that?
An extra stretch goal for a haunted Astro Divinity deck.
And Chainsaw Gothic. Got an empty space on my bookshelf next to the Mage Tarot deck. Okay, it'll fit. All right, on to people. Here's a shot of a nice city. Kind of looks like might be Viridian on Byzantium Kundus, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Could be anywhere, really. And another saint. This one is Saint Hadara, Matriarch Hadara, one of the previous patriarchs. She was from Madoc and was known for all sorts of miraculous deeds and healing. Loved by many. And so, yeah, we review again the NPC types, and this one we give you a little more of the detail on how to break them down, and then like here's a sample how you might fill out a headliner. And then agents. A sample, such as this guy is a bandit who pretends to be a priest, and then his gang, including his sort of leader agent here, and then the thugs who are with him as the extras. To give you an idea how to build these folks. Yeah. And how to role play them also. Don't forget, extras are people too. And here's a host of sample NPCs for you. Starting with nobles, Lihalan. And these are all, well, most of these are headliners. There are a few agents scattered in. And then later we'll get some extras. That's Brother Emerson Long, I believe, of the Brothers Battle. Yep, Canon. There's Deacon Barnabas Abdullah Twain. He's a Reeve, I think. Yeah. A lot of guys. And, these are obviously NPCs, but, if you really wanted to, you could, give a player these stats to go off on it if they just want to start with the game with some pre-gens. There will be some pre-generated characters or dramatis personae, as we call them, as part of the play kit that Andrew wrote up. Those guys vary in level from 1 through 10, and you can use them as players or NPCs. And same thing here. We even get a yeoman, a Halston Frederick Largo of the Dispossessed. Yeah, here's our Vorox. He's a merchant Vorox, I believe. He's a yeoman. Oh, he's the Society of St. Paulus. That's right. He's a explorer. Oxley. And barbarians. Yep, Sarah Voldrock here too. There's Astrid the Valkyrie. And here's Countess Freya of the Red Mountains. She is the namesake of Empress Freya. It was named after her. And occultists. Gotta have those psychic covens. Well, the church says you don't gotta have them, but we do. Here's the Invisible Path. An Al-Malik of the Invisible Path. And she's opposed by the Faviana. Another Al-Malik. Oh my goodness. It's like they know each other. It's like some interfamily rivalry going on or something between psychic covens. What? What is happening here?
It's all just meant to distract you from the true purpose of creating that evil Third Republic.
Oh. Our sample theurgist here is an Obun. And the heretics. There's Mayor Diego Castienda de Hazat de Sutek. He is a secret Republican. Burn him at the stake, quick. Yep, Republicans. Rotten bunch. Talking about democracy and freedoms. Good Lord, what else? And a warlock. Antinomist. He's a House Kedah. And here we get in some extras. Your gangs. Bandits. Or you might find in urban areas or a space station. Your guards. Country, urban, palace guards. Got some raiders, inquisitors, of course, and unruly mobs. Nosy priests. Court gossips. These guys aren't there to fight so much as to get into influence contests with. Marketers, people trying to sell you stuff. In other words, using their influence to convince you to buy stuff. Wonder why you have so many Guggaws now. And so little Firebirds. And creatures. What's a role-playing game without a lot of creatures? Here's our favorite hull rats. Yay, everybody needs a pet hull rat. Of course, they're all going to have one whether they want one or not on their ship.
And it's probably pregnant. Even the male.
Yep. There's a creature called a matrika. Watch out, they're poisonous. And we got some small ones, the parrot beetles. Then here's the picture of the whale hog. They're sometimes used as cavalry by Voldrak. What the heck? Now we get into the weird monstrosities, the things that are inexplicable and unexplained, such as the husks. They're supposed to be dead, but they keep walking. Some samples here that Chainsaw Gothic will recognize. Megaran husk. And monsters. It's a Hargard rock worm. And fire bats.
They're just misunderstood.
There they are. And then there's a section on creating creatures, how to think of using the rules for them. And such. They're a little slightly different. Just how to think of their traits and their intelligence and so on. What they would be using those skills for, like sleight of hand and such. Vitality and a list of attacks. A lot of them have natural weaponry and stuff. All sorts of things to help you build your own critters. Golems, otherwise known as robots in all the other sci-fi games. And they vary from ones such as the Lunk, which is pretty much just a worker, to the Protector, which is a bodyguard. And all the way up to chaperones that are meant to be your little personal butlers. And of course, there are rumors of truly intelligent golems out there. Very rare, but certainly sinful. And here we talk about the vow, the strange and mysterious vow. Rarely encountered. But if you do, it's the soldiers you don't want to meet. But here they are, just in case. Along with the symbiotes. Now that works. Yep, that's a vow soldier. Vow come in 3 casts: workers, soldiers, and mandarins. That's as far as anybody knows. Who knows? There could be other stuff going on. You'd have to get War in the Heavens hegemony to find out. And here's an example of some poor sap who got infected. And you could encounter as a symbiote. And then we talk about Anunnaki artifacts, those very strange things that are strewn throughout the galaxy, from gargoyles to philosopher's stones and soul shards. Then there's all sorts of myths and legends about things. Things about what are the fading suns, what this strange heretical religion of the reborn sun, the dark between the stars and the void krakens and all sorts of other stuff. Oh, and the new mysterious rune dark, as it's being called. Strange things going down in Voldrock space. And there's a void kraken caught on camera. It's Big Eye. Spaceship. There's the bridge. Run! I love that shot. Now, that could be a magic lantern show. Who knows if it's actually real? And here we get into the places. And what we see here is the Panchibu scorpion, an Anunnaki gargoyle sort of statue on Hargard. Admiral Nelson says, speaking golems, I highly recommend the Raised by Wolves TV show. Got nice FS vibe from it. Yeah, it's an interesting show. The androids there are really cool. You wind up liking them better than anybody else. Certainly better than the Mithraist. And here we got another saint. Who could it be this time? My God, it's Saint Doramos, the world architect. The master terraformer who took too many of his secrets with him when he left. He is, of course, considered a saint by the eschatonic order, whether or not the Orthodox recognizes him as such. And so we talk, here's gives you some general advice on planets and environments and, what to think of as you're putting places together for your drama of the evening. And then the kind of traits we generally use for our planets. And then here's our sample setting of Hargard. Originally appeared in the Star Crusade book way back, and this is an updated version telling us all sorts of things that have happened since then, including now Duchess Eldred giving her daughter to Alexius in marriage, and hence giving Alexius claim on the world. So we talk about some of its history. We break down some simple traits. Now, there's a very cool picture here, but in the final version, that'll be swapped out with a Hargard map, which we forgot to slip into this one. It's a really cool looking map for the planet. It'll go here. I'm assuming here. That piece will show up somewhere. And here's the breakdown of the continents, giving you all sorts of details. The continent of Dagnir. Eldred is not a princess because she is not the head of a royal house. Only royal houses, those who have vote scepters, can really claim the title of prince. She is a duchess, which is the highest you can get as a minor house. She is also a thane. Yep. Always love the planetary maps in the old books. Gutsaplee said, yep, those were great. Those were done by Christopher Howard, who has also written the forthcoming House Hawkwood Imperial Dossier, which you'll be getting soon as a backer. And here we talk about Ostmark. That's the rebellious continent where the Thane Sigfidir Firestorm holds out against Alexius's invasion. And he will be joined by all sorts of other Voldrock who also don't like the known worlders, so it's going to be a rough place. And there we talk about the Anunnaki statue, the Valholm spaceport, which, if you're brave enough, you can go hang out in. It's going to be rough for known worlders. And, yep, Dagnir. And all sorts of strange things going on. The cults in Dagnir. Apparently, there are human cults to Nidorak from beyond the stars, which is a god worshipped, or apparently worshipped, they think, by the Nizdarim, who are these mollusk, like tentacled sentients who live offshore from Dagnir. They just appeared, took parts of the world. It's a nice shot too, a little outcropping with the cults. Yeah, you should be able to get all sorts of great ideas for stories here. Call me asks, so are the Hargard and Chopper branches Ramakrishna House considered reunited? Are they considered separate houses? They are separate houses, and the Al Malik have some division on whether just how close they are to them. Because Ramakrishna has some claim on pieces of Shoprat if they were to actually try to push it, and they might be. And of course, the Al Malik don't want that, so we'll see where that goes. And some forthcoming books, you'll see some of how that plays out. And here we get into the playing chapter, and there's a creature called the Morgaunt, which you might or might not be able to encounter in the Nightmare in Ingmark, depending on how you play it. Admiral Nelson says, love the look of that shell-shaped Nidorak temple. Great stuff from the artist, whoever gave it back to the artist. Yeah, these artists it's great. And I just seeing color pictures for Fading Suns is awesome. And now here we go with another saint. Everybody knows this one. This is Saint Vladimir, our first emperor. I wonder why there's fire there. Huh. Put fire in that picture with Vladimir. What's going on? Vladimir Flame. He's actually one of the cards in the Astro Divinity deck too, is Vladimir Flame.
Buy EFS and find out what happens to his pretty head.
Exactly. His story was told there. We start out here with an example of play, which gives you a sample of how to run this whole thing, how to put all
The
those
return of Lady
rules.
Tirza.
Yeah, there she is. She's listed there. She's one of the guys. This is from some of the play tests I did, some of the characters who were in there. Andrews is Lady Tirza. She's in there, the Dakados. But yeah, it takes all those rules you've been getting through all the other books and puts them all here scene by scene with examples, including new creatures such as mutant feral dogs. Who would dare experiment on dogs? So yeah, this example of play takes
on this planet.
Yep. This example of play takes place in the ruins of an old Emperor Wars era lab that was doing genetic experiments, but it's a lab that stretches back to actually the Second Republic ruins that were there. And there's golems there too. Player character dealing with one of them in an underground hydroponics place where they've been creating plants. Call Me asks, are the systems which make up each of the 5 metropoli going to be detailed, or is that not a big deal? Just curious, what happens if a planet changes ownership too, if it switches which metropoli is a part of? Some of the metropoli are mentioned, the whole concept of it, in the Earth Orthodox Imperial dossier book, but the systems are going to be detailed as we cover their rulers. So the House Hawkwood Imperial Dossier book revisits the Hawkwood worlds. And so each of the other dossiers, if they own any of these worlds, revisits. Some to a degree. We don't go into too much detail yet on Holy Terra. Again, that's going to require a whole more detail. But overall, such as when we do the House Staccatos book, you'll get more info on the updates on, those worlds, Severus and such. If Andrew were to finish the book. So here we are in, let's see. Yep, we're still in the example of play. There we go. Yeah, that takes up time. And now we get into Drama Nightmare Mark. I don't know how much we want to get into this one, because I don't want to spoil it for folks. We should probably just scroll through this one really quick so I don't spoil it. There might be players out there who are going to be playing this thing. But yeah, there's some NPCs for the Game Master. It's all broken into scenes and acts and the NPC details and stuff.
Skip over the 5
and here, what's that? No, symbiotes. There are no symbiotes on that story. We're now in the appendix. Actually, if you can scroll back, Robert, to the tech use section, I just wanted to show some of that. Yeah, this is just a section. It was originally in the character book, couldn't fit, threw it in here because I think it's all valuable stuff for game masters to know as they're thinking about tech levels and just what constitutes a tech level and how throughout the history of the church has thought about these various things. So it's just a little extra fun info for folks. And then that's going to be followed by basically the NPC template cards used for NPCs to write up their stats. Section, yep. The tech stuff that you will never understand. NPC cards for headliners and agents. There you go. Two-sided there. The idea is you can keep more of these on your plate rather than sheet. And the NPC template for your thugs and extras and stuff. And there we are. That's the Game Master book. Any other questions up here about that from you folks out there?
That's a lot of good stuff, Bill. A lot of fun info in there. So, right at the beginning, one thing I like about the book is you talk specifically about handling that NPC pool as well as the troop pool. We've talked about also ways through when you have multiple NPC powers there, where theoretically they each have their own pool. Do you do one pool? Do you have multiple pools? How do you handle it? So, lots of good insights into handling the NPCs. And Admiral Nelson had a question about tech levels.
Yeah, so glad there was a post-Kickstarter backing extension via Game on Tabletop. Yeah, we extended the Pledge Manager for a while there. It'll be well worth what I spent. I hope so. I certainly believe so. Akram's Razor said, if you think you understand Tech Line 9 or 10, you better beware your head can explode. Yep, that's true. That stuff gets crazy. And one of the forthcoming books, we will revisit rune casting, which are those crazy weirdos in Voldrock space who thought they have deciphered some Anunnaki glyphs and are using them to warp reality, but usually it comes at quite a cost. Sorry, I got a cat down here who really wants attention. I'm leaning over to pet while I'm talking to you all.
Did you see Admiral
Nelson? I really like how the jam book is structured. Thanks. I do too. All right, Andrew, what were you going to say?
Is it intentional for TL4 to be part of both alchemical and eminent tech?
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. The two chat streams are not pulling the same text.
Yeah, there's some overlap on some of that early kind of tech stuff too. I mean, even on other tech levels, sometimes it's going to be hard to say, well, what level is this? And you really tend to go with whatever's towards the higher end, or towards the top. So if you've got something that you don't know whether it's tech level 4, tech level 5 is just on that kind of level, push it towards tech level 5. If you've got something that, really could have been in tech level 3 and stuff, and but has some elements of 4, push it to 4. You always want to go for that. It's not a Zoom chat without a Zoom cat. Yeah, but this guy's so huge. His name's Rory. He's my niece's cat. He can't really jump up like my old cat did. He's a giant. He's like 20 pounds or something.
Yep, it's only official when a child.
Yep. So yeah, there's your Game Master book, and so that's all the core books now are available. Everybody's got the Universe book originally, and the proofing is closed on that, so everybody should, once all these are done, everybody will get them all, because we want to make sure they're all done first and don't have to go back and change something on the other previous ones. The proofing, I believe, for the character book is still open. It's going to close soon, I think. So if you've got any errors to note on that, you haven't noted them yet on the form link that came, please do so as soon as you can. And the Game Master book is open right now for errors and proofing. And just try to get those in as soon as you can, too. It'll be open a little while longer. That was just the cat zipping past. Ship's crews, extras. How do you handle ship operations? Ship stuff. There was a larger section on ship operations in the character book. Unfortunately, we couldn't fit it all. If you were a backer, you will have gotten some of that information in an addendum that went out. Otherwise, it's also going into a forthcoming book on spacecraft that includes some sample ships and deck plans and stuff. It'll be a really fun book. So there's all sorts of great stuff coming up for the next.
Until then, get the Noble Armada game and play it out that way.
There you go. If you want the mini side of it. So yeah. All right. Well, we got a few more minutes, but
I'll do a few announcements as well. We're talking about Machiavelli the Prince / Merchant Prince, another one of our Game of the Year games from HDI coming out on GOG. So join us on the next Heretical Musings stream, and I should have information about that. Chainsaw Gothic asks, question, have you been reading any good science fiction lately? You know, Phil doesn't read anything good. It's all romance novels.
Yeah, all the time. Actually, I am currently reading Kim Stanley Robinson's Ministry for the Future. It's sci-fi, but only barely. It's near sci-fi. And it's pretty much about, climate change and our inability to deal with it and what's coming down the line. It's a pretty good book so far. I'm only halfway through. It's hard to say for sure. But yeah, it's good.
The convention coming up November 13th to 15th. So I'll talk about that in our next stream as well. But as I mentioned before, Will Wright will be a speaker there. Nick Lang, who just released New World for Amazon Games, is one of our keynotes. Brad Merritt, who runs the Cartoon Network Game Studios. We've got a good tabletop game designer talking about my favorite topic, dice mechanics, and all doing a nice review of all the different dice mechanics, or I should not say all, of a lot of different dice mechanics, as well as how to come up with your own system if you're interested in game design that way. We'll be doing some of Will Wright's new game tools. We'll be introducing a number of game tools for novice video game developers, things like Twine and Fusion and the like, which are great for people who haven't done computer games before. So jump on in and check that out. And great question from Call Me. So what's with the Chowky? Let me get back to my Emperor the Fading Suns game and kill some more of them. In
yeah, the Chowky.
They're chalky when I play those dots.
Yeah, they showed up on Ivor, so their return was a big surprise. But Ivor is still kind of an interdicted world by the church because there's so many heretics on it. So nobody's made that big a deal about the Chowky yet, which is what the Hazat want. And that's probably why nobody's made a big deal. No one wants to really piss off the Hazat too much. For what? What are they going to gain for it? So we'll have to see what happens with them. And certainly you folks are able to come up with your own ideas too on that.
Of course, if you're in Hazat space, you're constantly paranoid that there are Chowky spies behind every shrub. So that's always fun to play into it. If you don't like someone, call them a Chowky spy and get them wiped out.
Right. As Call Me says, they aren't mentioned in the Ivor section. It's just a big topic, and we really just didn't have a lot of space to deal with it. But as Chainsaw Gothic said, I think there's a clue inside the airlock. Someone should go in and take a look. That's the old Chowky stride. Tridian Frame, I hope it's okay to ask, but I'm curious to whether or not you guys have plans to possibly release the source code for EFS. Just curious.
We have it out there, and if you're very interested in it, I'll connect you to a Discord server. Trillin, you can I'll put an email address in here where you can reach me. This is the one I prefer for new communication, so be amused at the extension. It's a new email provider, but they've got a good spam filter. So Trillin, shoot me an email, and we'll talk to you about getting you on the Discord server. And yeah, we are old mods, work with the new version from GOG, and we are. Oh, it's so funny. I can see it in Twitch, but not in the center stream. Anyway, FaceJAndrew at AOL.com.
AOL.
So shoot me a note, and I'll get you on that server. And yeah, the mod is great. You can play the old Nova mods and others, and that'd be a lot of fun again. And yes, Jacobian agents do love to use Ivor as bait for not Archons.
Cool.
Yep, Emerald,
Thanks,
you're right.
Ulysses
I'm
International.
so I got sweet, but it's funny. Yeah, exactly. So I got sweet when I put in AOL.com. It's for my own protection.
Oh my gosh. I want to mention too, Andrew mentioned the prints back out too on GOG. That's actually a good game as a reference for any kind of Merchant League stuff you guys want to get up to, because the Merchant League are pretty much that Machiavelli era, Italian city-state merchants in space. And so it's a really good way to grasp that sort of thing. Just imagine that instead of going from city to city, they're going from planet to planet. And you've got the Merchant League.
Right, exactly. And it was the game of the year for good reason.
Yeah, yep. And forthcoming stuff you guys should be getting soon are the rest of the books you backed, which are, I don't know the order yet that they'll be coming out in, but there's the faction book, there's Intrigues and Escapades, which includes some dramas. There are the 3 Imperial dossiers on the Hawkwoods, the Reeves, and the Earth Orthodox sect. And then there's all sorts of other goodies like the play kits, the GM screen, uh, the play mats also for people who got those, especially those deluxe mousepad play mats. Those are really cool, and big giant central table jump web map too that you can use also as a place for your troop coffer and the well. So that stuff will all be great, but it's all on the way. Maybe even we'll have one to talk about by the next time we're out. We'll see what happens. We still got that character book to go through. It's a big one. Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess we're done for this week.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing everyone on the next one. I got to get back to some EFF.
Cool. And yeah, awesome.
All right. Have fun on the raid. All going along.